Welcome to Some Heat Talk. The Miami Heat are on a little 5-day break, a much-needed break after their 4-game losing streak. It's been a terrible, terrible stretch for the Miami Heat. 14-11 currently as we sit. Next game is Monday against the Toronto Raptors. So we have nothing to really talk about. Well, we did have nothing to really talk about until on this little break. We don't have any Tyler Hero drama of him ruining the rotation to talk about. We don't have any of the Miami Heat games to react to. But now, as these 2 days have gone by, the national media's NBA talking heads has started to push a little narrative. They started to talk about the possibility, which has not talked about when Giannis, the initial report came out where Giannis was and his team were gathering to possibly ask out of Milwaukee or gathering to work him into a new location. Miami was not an initial possible landing spot. It was more New York, and that's about it. But now the national media heads in the NBA are starting talking about Giannis possibly going to the Heat. Andrew Beck on the Zach Lowe show saying, again, in doing this Giannis story and talking to people around the league, Miami was suggested to me as a place Giannis would really love to land if it's not New York. Then Brett Siegel said, I think that the one team that makes the most sense is the Miami Heat. We've seen Pat Riley holding off assets through the years. If he does request a trade, I would definitely keep an eye on South Beach, and I think that would be in that 1A tier teams that could potentially go after him. So look, the national media is starting to talk and starting to see the path of Giannis Antetokounmpo coming to the Miami Heat. It's not just all New York now, and I've been saying this. I've been saying this since the beginning. There is no New York does not work as well as Miami does in this trade. Now, the Spurs, you can say, work better. There's definitely teams that work better, can give up way better assets than the Miami Heat compared to the Miami Heat, of course. Sorry, but at the same time, I feel like the Heat have been on this path for Giannis for years now. They've been in the loop. They've been sniffing around the Giannis situation, and they've been waiting for this to unfold. They've been waiting for him to become unhappy in Milwaukee, for Milwaukee to go on this little losing streak and this losing run, which has been occurring in Milwaukee, and for Giannis to eventually become unhappy, which he has. And honestly, I think Miami is in a good situation to potentially acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that we now, with the acquisition of Norman Powell, we have a number one scoring dude that can shoot the ball and score that way, while we have another one in Tyler Hero who can do the same thing and create his own shots and be a number one scorer. So we have two of those dudes. So, we don't have to move off of one or the other. We don't have to move off of one and have none in a Giannis situation. We can move off of Tyler Hero, Milwaukee dude, Wisconsin dude, homegrown, all-star caliber player, young. That's a big asset in this trade. Tyler Hero has improved his value, especially over the last season, becoming an all-star, being the number one on the Miami Heat, getting them into the playoffs, even though that playoff matchup against the Cavs did not mean anything. But still a young, promising star in the league who can score and will be something fun for the Milwaukee fans to root for after Giannis. Now, of course, it's nothing compared to Giannis, but that's that. And then we also have Kel'el Ware, who has improved his stock over the season, in my opinion. He has shown that he is one of the top players of his draft class. The draft class isn't very strong, of course, but he's still shown that he is a top 5 player in the draft class if it were to get redrafted. That's another young asset, promising center. Then you can throw in the Jovic's, maybe. You can throw in if the trade were to happen this season, like during the season, we would only have 2 tradable first round picks. Fuck the Hornets, because we would have had 3. The NBA and the Hornets absolutely schemed against the Miami Heat and robbed them of draft picks because they knew this day would come. But that's besides the point. We should be having 3. But we would only have 2 tradable draft picks. But if we wait until the offseason, possibly, which I wouldn't want to do, I want to win now, of course. But remember, wait till the offseason, we'll have more draft picks available. So, a package around Tyler Hero, an all-star, young, Kel'el Ware, promising young guy in this league, in 2 tradable draft picks so far, and a couple others in the future. That's a pretty solid package. And of course, you add another player. I don't know who would be. Jovic, a couple young Jaquez. That's a good piece. Been pretty good this season. Been solid this season. That's another piece right there. And you got to look at this different from the Kevin Durant trade, because we didn't know what we were getting at Norman Powell coming into the season. Kevin Durant was more of a, if we get him, we'll be better placed than where we are the season before, but it's not going to be very much. I feel like if we got Kevin Durant, we're expecting to be the same spot that we are currently in, or were currently in before this 4-game losing streak, which is sitting at a 4-3 spot in the East range, maybe 5. So if we were to get Kevin Durant this offseason, which was the big move, the move everybody wanted, the move that we were expecting to cash in on finally and get that star player in Miami, Kevin Durant would have brought us to like the 4 to 5 seed caliber range. But we sit there currently before this 4-game losing streak. This 4-game losing streak doesn't count. It's fraudulent. Shut up. Let me be delusional here. And then Giannis, adding Giannis to it by eliminating Tyler Hero, who we had great success without. Giannis, superstar Hall of Fame player, 31 years old. Adding him, that brings us to championship contender. That brings us to we're the favorites to get out of the East. And you have to look at it that way. You can't look at this as like, okay, this is another whale we're going off of. We're still going to need something else. No, this is the something else, and this is for sure the something else, and this is for sure going to get us to the finals, especially if we were to cash in this year, even if it wasn't next year. We could beat the Tatums and Browns together in the Celtics. We can beat the Halliburtons and Siakams when all of them come back, and we can definitely take down the Knicks. Now, you got to hope the Knicks don't get them, because the Knicks with Giannis and Brunson, that's scary. That's scary Terry hours. But, yeah, the steam for Giannis Antetokounmpo to come to the Miami Heat, the rumors, the talk, the seeds are starting to be planted, which is a good sign. I see him talking to Chris Haynes a little bit. Chris Haynes is planting seeds and stories for him to make his way out of Milwaukee. And now Brett Siegel, Andrew Beck, the people inside NBA circles are starting to plant the seeds. And not necessarily plant the seeds, starting to put out what they're hearing about Giannis and the Heat being a possible landing spot for him. Now we have to get to the 4-game losing streak. This 4-game losing streak has been completely fucking brutal. It's been brutal. We lose to the Kings, we lose to the Mavericks, we lost to the Magic twice. So now all of a sudden the Magic are the big dogs. They're the big dogs in Florida. Not good. We own them. We still own them. You guys are having a little stretch right now. 3-0 in the season series. And we can't be losing to the Magic. I can't take any more Magic loss. I can't take these guards killing us like Zach LaVine and Desmond Bane dropping 40, especially Desmond Bane's bum ass trying to talk shit. Like, where you been at the last couple years, buddy? You're not that good. You're not that good, pal. But 4-game losing streak. It's been bad, and the shooting has been bad. The offense has been bad. The offense has been nowhere near what we saw to begin the season with the offensive explosions. And right before this 4-game losing streak, our last win was against the Clippers, where we scored 140 points. They went on that crazy 32-3 run or whatever it was, and it's just fallen apart since that game. Greatly fallen apart. Now, it was showing signs of falling apart before that game against the Mavericks and the Bucks, where they were without Anthony Davis or without Giannis, and we only scored 106 both of those games. Then we had a terrible 3 quarters against the Pistons, and then we went to that game. We're like, okay, all is fixed. Then 4-game losing streak happens. It's been awful. We're right into the middling play-in range. We're back at the 8th seed. Of course, it's too early in the season to be set and looking at the standings and letting the standings predict how the season's going to end up. But we're starting to come back down to reality. We're starting to middle out to what these people expected us to be. Just an average Eastern Conference team. But I still think the Miami Heat are not just an average Eastern Conference team. I mean, I look at the East. The Pistons, the Knicks, the Celtics, the Magic, the Raptors, the Sixers, the Cavs. Those are the teams in front of the Heat. We beat the Cavs without Bam. We hung in there with the Pistons. We came back from a 20-point lead. We could have won if we started off a little bit better. The Magic, we've been in there. They just caught us on some cold streaks. And like the Sixers were clearly better than the Raptors. We'll see on Monday. I think we're better than the Celtics. I think we're better than right now without Tatum. I think we're more than a middling team in the East. It's just that this offense needs. It's the first time that Spo's running this offense. It's the first time these Heat players are in this offense and incorporated in this offense, and they need to get used to it. They need to go through the trials and tribulations of people catching on to this offense and be able to make adjustments. And they haven't had to do that yet until now. So with this 5-game stretch, what we need to do is fine-tune this offense, make the adjustments necessary, maybe change up the lineup a little bit, looking to giving Khalil Ware some more minutes, because I think he will be greatly effective with us struggling against size, looking at us to maybe allow Tyler Hero to take more perimeter shots. He's been taking less perimeter shots this season. He's been getting to the basket, going to the rim. I think he needs to take a little bit more threes. I think we need to incorporate some picks. I know we don't like the pick and roll. That's not what the offense is about. But at the same time, I feel like Tyler Hero does need that. And the offense could use that at times. You know, it's all about driving kick. So, look into Andrew Wiggins possibly coming off the bench. Look at Davion. I love what Davion Mitchell is doing. But at the same time, there's some offense there that can be used. Like, I love how Jaime Jaquez pushes the pace off the bench. Even though he struggles some games, he's inconsistent. He's been on an inconsistent stretch in this Heat losing streak, and this Heat slid. But I still love how he pushes the pace. Fontecchio's ice cold. The bench is ice cold. It's nothing like the bench to start the season. We need this 5-game rest, and we also need this 5-game break of rest to get the offense back to where it is, get the defense back to Miami Heat defense. And of course, you have confidence in Spo to do that. He's one of the best coaches of all time. The Heat will be back on track. They will be proving to you guys why they are not just a middling team in the East or not just a playing team again. They are a top team that should be considered to come out of the East this season. I still and truly believe that. I'll stand by that despite the 4-game losing streak. We'll be out the 4-game losing streak. We have a game against the Raptors. They're tough. Then we have a game against the Nets and Celtics the Knicks and the Raptors again. So we have a tough schedule coming up. But you know what? Nothing better than to test ourselves at our lowest than against some great teams that we're going to end up playing in the playoffs when we make the finals and win the championship. Other than that, that's it. That's all I got for you until some more Heat news comes out. We're going to get out of this 4-game losing streak, don't worry. And Giannis is going to be on the Heat this season, and we're going to win a championship. Don't worry. I predicted it here first. Let's go Heat.